right, and we are back for what is bound to be the last and final game of the day. One of these teams has to win the best of three. Literal Monkeys or the Tortugas, we'll find out here shortly, and a lot of their wins. Both the Tortugas winning game number 1, Literal Monkeys winning game number 2 has been off of their draft that you will see pro-drafted right now on the screen. If you're still or just tuning in, I'm Jake Kelton, joined by the main man himself who's been here hanging out for hours, Smartest2. Are you hyped to find out who actually wins this best of 3 series?
Absolutely. It's been a pretty good series so far. We've seen, it'd be a lot less one-sided than we were expecting after game number 1. After game number 1, we were like, okay, this one's probably in the bag. These guys are playing out of their minds. Looks like this is going to be a quick 2-0, but no, I mean, we saw them respond. We saw the Tortugas respond back with an actual, Little Monkeys respond back with a victory. So now it's anyone's game.
Absolutely, and you could say that the game has been wrapped around Sejuani's fingers as Tortugas took Sejuani game number 1 and won with it. The Literal Monkeys took a game number 2 and won with it, but they're gonna have to find advantages somewhere else as Sejuani will be banned away in the first round draft by the Tortugas. That red mark you see is the Sejuani ban, as once again Literal Monkeys having their advantages last game by banning away all these ADCs will continue the trend and ban 3 ADCs. And the Tortugas respond with the Morgana and the Urgot, taking that away from Quest for Ions, who's had 2 good games in a row. But this means that the Ornn is available to him, which we have yet to see today, but yesterday played fantastically in both games that he showed up with it.
Absolutely. It's interesting. For the first time, we're actually seeing some champions banned away. Did you say you know who that first ban was?
The Sejuani.
Sejuani, perfect. First time we're actually seeing changes in the bans, right? So finally, Tortugas have said, you know what, we don't want to deal with the Urgot at all. To get that out of here, we'll take the Nasus again if we want, but we don't want to keep blaming into this Urgot. The Sivir Nautilus being a pretty strong lane, Jinx Braum bring another pretty strong lane. I'm expecting a jungle pick to come in here. I doubt they'll blind pick the top laner here unless they're just expecting Nasus to just be guaranteed. There's the Zac. I was expecting Zac, but I was expecting a jungler.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Great engage tool and fairly tanky. His passive pretty nice. I want to comment on the Tortugas picking up that Sivir. They had it in game number 1 and won with it. They switched over to the Twitch for game number 2 and it did not go so well, so they're back on it. Maybe once again hoping to get that super late game crit scaling that they had for game number 1. They pick up the Hecarim for the end of the first pick phase and immediately ban the Ornn away from Quest for Ions. So we'll finally have to see that top laner for Literal Monkeys play something else as they ban away the Victor. The Lux in the mid lane, Zoe also taken away, so a lot of mid laners pinched as the second pick phase begins.
Yeah, and I'm wondering why they're holding their top lane for last, unless they're going to do something other than Nasus. If they want Nasus again, I think they should have picked it here, and then the last pick their mid laner to allow the counter pick for their Tortugas. I'm expecting from Little Monkeys possibly... Oh, the Zilean this time, and these teams love to swap their champions.
Yeah, that Zilean gonna be pretty nice. Keep Zac alive. You can repeat multiple times his health. If he gets low, you Zilean ult him, then he's gonna get low. He's gonna have that passive. You can TP on those passives, making sure he stays alive for forever. But that's a lot of investment to try to keep that Zac alive. That will be being played by Paka Paul. We've not seen him play that Zac yet. What is this last pick in the top lane? Are they gonna lock the Alawi? Quest for Ions throwing down the gauntlet and the test of spirit, grabbing the Alawi for the top lane.
One important thing to note is that with Alawi being picked, you cannot take Nasus into Alawi. It is suicide. I will be very judgmental if I see Nasus being locked in here for a third time. Alawi will dumpster Nasus. What are they going to pick? It's Poppy. Poppy does a much better job into Alawi because you can negate...
Nope, it is not a Poppy, it is a Scion. Welcome to the reason why we don't pro draft, because it's unreliable. It is a Scion locked in for the top lane. Now, continue.
Scion's even worse. Scion also gets completely demolished by Alawi. I'm very surprised at that pick. He's going to take a very large CS hit. I'm expecting by 15 minutes in Alawi to have a significant CS lead. It's funny. Experiment 626 is in the chat, and this is a matchup that me and him usually used to play. Him playing Sion, me playing Alawi. So all too well, Alawi has the advantage in this lane. There's nothing Sion can actually do to contest Alawi, and post 6, it's just a done deal.
To be fair, though, Taiho in that top lane struggled with the Nasus into an Urgot, as Quest for Ions had that Urgot and was successful with that 2 times in a row, even though the second game wasn't actually, or was a victory for them. And so it may be one of those things that Taiho is saying, I'm a bit more comfortable on this Sion pick rather than picking something that he's not as comfortable on. And so we'll just see how that Sion into the Alawi.
What did you do to my face?
What did I do to your face? Oh, it's because I'm saying hi to you on Discord. There you go. You're back. You're happy.
There you go. There it is. All right. So now I like the Alawi pick for a number of reasons, right? They've established, okay, this guy doesn't actually have any good picks into Alawi. PTSD coming in chat. I want to look. I want to read it. So the Alawi pick I like for a number of reasons, right? First of all, it's clearly good into Teo's champion. You know, his champion posting between prize of champions that can't really deal with Alawi. Not only that, Alawi is a 1v1 plus X champion. It is a 1v2 champion. It is a 1v3 champion. If Savato tries to put as much pressure on Quest for Ions as he has been in the last 2 games, you know, it's very likely Alawi is going to come out insanely fed off this. Post 6, you don't want to yank Alawi. It's a terrifying situation, especially if you have something like Hecarim Sion, nothing crazy burst like. You know, Hecarim has damage, but not enough to nuke an Alawi. So it'll be really interesting to see how this game plays out from the top side of the map. I'm expecting Literal Monkeys to have a strong lead on the top side of the map. Could be champion biased. I don't know. I'm just saying Alawi definitely has the advantage here. I think if I'm Puckapal, I'm instantly saying, go bot, get them a lead. Don't worry about top lane. Let top lane fend for themselves. Well, what I've been telling the Tortuga the entire time is now what I'm telling Little Monkey.
That's the thing for Quest for Ions, right? On that Urgot, even though he had some advantages in the top side twice in Game 1 and Game 2, he found himself being able to 1v2 in a situation in which a champion who does super strongly was coming out also successful. Now he's on Alawi, who just thrives in those types of situations. We'll see if Quest for Ions can perform even better than he's been doing. With all the rest of the picks coming through, I just want to run through very quickly the champions and their picks, so that way we can get into talking about it, because this is Game 3, right? A team has to win, and we'll be moving on to the semifinals next Saturday, and we got to know which team it's going to be with some new compositions for us to discuss. For the side of Literal Monkeys, for the last time, Quest for Ions playing the Alawi this game in the top side. Puckapal on the Zac in the jungle. Why are you running with the Zillion in the mid lane? Trexen on the Jinx in the AD carry role. And Zufo having stolen away the Braum, playing that in the bottom lane support role.
Yeah, this has sort of become a theme that we see champions being stolen from whichever side. For the Tortuga, we have Teho on the Sion top lane, Savato running Hecarim jungle, Grey Anatomy on the Lissandra mid lane, Hans running Sivir AD carry, same as Game 1, and Raleigh switching it up this time, forced out of the Braum, running the Nautilus support this time, switching it back from the previous game.
Alright, so composition is pretty interesting. We've talked about the lead that Alawi should be able to build in the top side, and Quest for Ions has already shown the capability to do so. So now we have to look to those lanes on the side of Literal Monkeys that suffered in game number 1. The Jinx and the Braum a bit safer on that bottom side. The Braum especially being able to respond to that Sivir with the Unbreakable, absorbing those boomerangs as they come flying through. However, Raleigh's got the Nautilus now. We saw how powerful it was last game. The Nautilus able to hook and bring people in, especially with some strong Hecarim ganks. So again, it's going to be crucial for the side of Literal Monkeys to keep a vision around this bottom side. Jinx not the best at being able to escape, and if Savato gets into the bottom lane with that Hecarim joined by the CC of the Nautilus and damaged by Sivir, that should be a dead Jinx, maybe a dead Braum as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, you ask me this question every time, so this time I'm going to challenge you, ask you, who is your favorite to win this particular game and take the step?
When looking at the compositions as a whole, I definitely feel like there is favor for the side of the Tortugas. And even though Sion suffers heavily in that top side, the reason why I say that is because of Lissandra's ultimate. Its ability to lock someone down, especially if they can lock the Zillion and burst him before he's able to use that resurrection on someone, should be strong. You also have the guaranteed fear by the Hecarim ult. Sure, he doesn't have a ton of health, but that fear can CC people long enough for the Nautilus and the Sion being that frontline tanks to peel and protect the Sivir and the Lissandra. However, the Tortugas need to get through the laning phase without losing a bunch. There's still that snowball potential off of the Jinx, off of the Zillion, by the side of Literal Monkeys, and Zac is a ganking monster. And so for the side of Tortugas, play it safe, play it back, wait until they are able to actually find those advantages after the laning phase. Group for those neutral objectives. Do not fear going in. No hesitation. Burn those teleports, make those plays, and they should be able to come out with the win.
So, you think Tortuga or you think Little Monkeys? Because I heard some back and forth there.
Back and forth. I think with the Tortugas play safe in lane, even with Sion going down in CS, they should still be able to eventually find the win. I just think in game number 1, they showed such good team fight as long as they play like the game 1 with that combined team fight. While game 2 was very scrappy and Literal Monkeys did win, a lot of it was off of Literal Monkeys making the proactive plays and choosing and mistakes by the Tortugas. However, in game 1, the Tortugas were making their own plays and were able to set things up well. They had a couple of good plays in game number 2. So in the end, I don't know. I think the Tortugas can win it.
All right, so I'm going to counter you and say I think the Little Monkeys have it in the bag.
All right.
And I think that I want to see them run a 1-4, right?
Oh.
I want to see them keep Alawi in a sideways, let Alawi 1v1, let Alawi 1v2. That's what the champion's designed to do. And they need to look to just play around picks off of Zac and Braum, right? The second Zac grabs someone, Braum locks him in, Jinx helps lock them in with the stuns, and there's not really anyone they're afraid of, right? This time it's a Hecarim, this time it's a Lissandra, a Sivir, Nautilus. And the scariest option you have is Lissandra because you're scared that she might, insta nuke your team with some AoE shenanigans. But honestly, any of them are pretty fair game. So I think keeping Sion away from the team, and honestly even pulling Hecarim, causing the 4v3 scenario, that's what Literal Monkeys need to do in order to win this game.
We'll see if they can pull that off as the members of both teams are loading into the game. Checking in on some pretty nice skins. Mecha Zero Sion, Arcade Hecarim, Blood Moon Sivir, Ambitious Elf Jinx paired with the Zillion and the Santa Braum. Alright, that's it. You win. You win. Literal Monkeys are going to win just off of the skin. Skin to win. And Literal Monkeys are looking real good as they step in on the Rift this game. Oh, of course, they got those 3 winter skins and then immediately have the pool party Zac to top it all off. I don't know why he would want to be in his shorts while in the middle of winter, but you know what? We won't judge him as we make our way onto the Rift for the last time today. Literal Monkeys and the Tortugas both fighting for a semifinals game spot. Here we go.
And I'm curious to see if either team is going to opt for the invade this game. Are they going to be nervous, say, oh, it's game 3, got to play it safe, got to play it passive? Or do Little Monkeys who have the Braum advantage say, you know what, we have Braum, we need to invade, we need to take advantage off of this. But both teams looking for the 5-point. I'm a little disappointed here. Again, the early wards, I talked about this before. There's no point. I mean, here, I guess they want to prevent an invade on their end. But I mean, just have Braum go down there. Have Jinx watch the entrance from the top side of the red jungle, and you're totally fine, right? We saw how they wasted wards last game, that gave them no information because scuttles don't spawn at 2 minutes anymore. They spawn at 3 minutes or a little over 3 minutes. So your wards expire and you gain no value off of it. You're better off holding that ward and putting it down at about 2 minutes, 2:30 in.
Well, you said that you think that they might win because, well, at least helped winning on the side of Literal Monkeys because they have those skins to have that synergy. I'm gonna counter and raise you the Wind Drake that the Tortugas have available for the first Drake of the game. They won in game number 1 of their series with a Wind Drake start, and they have it available not only this game, which helps them out in that effect because they already won with the Wind Drake, but they have the Hecarim as well. So if they're able to get some vision and control around this bottom side, get themselves that Wind Drake, that will just boost the Hecarim up that much more.
Yeah, you know, a lot of again, we've mentioned it before, but we've really seen so many Wind Drakes today. I'm not sure if there's any real reasoning behind that, or just RNG gods are feeling the clouds today. But these games have been all about moving quick.
Well, game 1 and game 2 of this set of 3 were definitely a breeze, haha, for each team that were trying to succeed. And so we'll see where these teams can find their advantages this game, as that Alawi in the top side getting a little bit of CS lead over the Scion to start the game off. Why are you running with the Zillion in the mid lane? We want to see some good movement, taking that TP. Lissandra has TP as well. A lot of action in the bottom lane last game, and we'll see if that happens again this game. And I expect it should because of those strong CC champions of the Nautilus and the Braum.
Yeah, so moving attention away from top side of the map a little bit and moving to the mid lane, I would like to see Grey Anatomy for once. You know, look for more roams, right? You're landing into a Zillion, just clear the wave and look for some roams. Right? And obviously not yet, but as the game progresses to, you know, like the 6-minute, 7-minute mark, at that point, I would really like to see him, you know, just leave the lane, look for a play somewhere else, and even TP back into mid if he really is concerned about losing the CS.
Alright, the Scion going to be joined by the Lissandra as you're talking about those roams. Here comes the Hecarim as well. Can they lock down Quest for Ions? The root from Lissandra is going to miss, and the Alawi just walks away. Huge gank fail by the side of Tortugas.
And I like the fact that Quest for Ions has adapted, right? He said, okay, you guys just don't like me. You gank me so frequently. So the second he sees Tejo step up, he goes, okay, there's someone else here. I've seen this game before. This is a very familiar trailer, if you will. I've seen this book cover in the past. I've read this excerpt before. Need I say more? Please stop me now.
Well, maybe they can change history, as did not work out for them this time around. The Zillion about 10 CS lead over the Lissandra, and gonna be able to shuffle underneath that turret in the mid lane. Zillion's wave career pretty darn strong, but he has to expend a bit of mana to be able to do that, and Lissandra gonna burn through her own mana pool to try to collect that minion wave that was starting to build up. The Zac headed towards that bottom side of the map. He's hanging around a little bit, clearing up that Scuttle Crab, as the top Scuttle Crab was claimed by Hecarim earlier with that Lissandra roam.
Yeah, absolutely. That is one thing, though. Even though Lissandra might have lost a little bit of lane priority doing it with multiple CS, they did secure the top side Scuttle, and I like the fact that Zac's backing right here, because then if anything does happen, he's ready to react.
Safe and secure, making sure his bot lane's feeling good. About 10 CS lead over the Sivir. Scion not taking that much health in the early game, but it is a Kleptomancy Alawi, so she's going to be getting a lot of gold over time in that top side, building that up. And I love the Kleptomancy on her as well, because one of the issues for the side of Literal Monkey's top lane, Quest for Ions, has been vision issues. And there you can see using that free ward gotten from the Kleptomancy to secure even better vision and making sure that that gank from the Hecarim won't happen a second time.
Yeah, so quick note, Alawi landed the Test of Spirit, but then chose to not finish off the clone, which gives 25 gold and applies lane pressure and sets up tentacles for you. It's actually very important to do that. Not entirely sure why Alawi chose to not execute that all the way through, but maybe I'm missing something.
We'll see if that comes back to punish her. I doubt it, but at the moment, 20 CS lead over the Scion, who's trying to get a little bit of vision into the enemy team's jungle. Grey Anatomy very, very low on mana in that mid lane, but does have that level 6. So if she had mana, could use it if Zillion was trying to make any cheeky plays. However, both mid laners just going to go ahead and hit that recall button, go back and spend their items, as no real crazy action happening in that mid lane. They hadn't even drank any potions before recalling.
I'm curious to see where Like Zach's sort of hovering a lot on this bot side of the map, but he hasn't really found many opportunities to actually do anything. So we see Hecarim now having a 2-camp lead on him just because of all the time that Zach has wasted. I think Hecarim actually is starting up the Windrake here.
So he will be trying to clear that one up, get himself a little bit of extra speed. Going to be joined by the Sivir and the Nautilus. Now, last game, some of the Drake's attempts by the Tortugas didn't work out so well for them, and the collapse from Literal Monkeys was very nice. Well, at least they're attempted, I think, in game number 2 a collapse. But no one here to contest, and Tortugas get themselves the first Drake of the game.
Yeah, no vision at all from Little Monkeys to scout any of that out. Alawi also playing very passive. He needs to just jump in just like that. Just auto him down.
Still a 10 CS difference in that top lane, 10 CS difference or so in the mid lane, 10 CS difference in the junglers, the Hecarim being up that 10 CS, and tied in the bottom lane. So no first blood just yet as we're coming up to the 8.5-minute mark. Both teams content to just sit back and try to farm these lanes, wait for a jungler to try to make the first move.
Yeah, unfortunately, Test of Spirit minion blocked there as Hecarim just being a little cheeky. He's running. His bot lane's not even there, and he just dashed into the tri-bush.
You know what? When you're got to get to that control ward. You got to get to that control ward.
I don't even know if he knew it was in there. Just the brave pony running around.
True.
He's like, I got a Windrake. What are you gonna do about it?
And then Braum walks up and just drops the second one immediately afterwards. So
defeats the whole. Oh, plot twist. So a little bit slower pace this game, 8 minutes in and the scoreboard's still 0-0. This is the slowest we've seen the game so far.
Well, it is game 3. The key for both these teams, they don't want to make the mistake that loses them the game. None of these players wants to be the one that when looking back at these games is the responsible one for why the game was lost. So everyone trying to play their best. What that means is it's a slow-paced game. And for the side of Tortugas, they're okay with that. This Alawi, while she's got a small CS lead over the Scion, it's not an absolute decimation. It's not a slaughter of CS. He's slowly scaling up bit by bit over time. In the bottom lane, that Sivir gonna become a late game monster, and so they're just okay to just sit back, continue to trade this farm, and see it where the game goes.
So so Lissandra sees the ping, clears it. I want to see Lissandra keep this up, right? I want to see Lissandra leave this lane, look to bot lane, look to try and get a gank off onto Jinx. All Lissandra needs to do is jump down, ult the Jinx, lock her down, so that way Nautilus can follow up with his ult, and it's just a guaranteed kill. There's no point in trying to match the Zillion.
It's just going to be wave clear duty all day long in the mid lane. Hecarim trying to get a little bit of a counter jungle clear, clearing up those raptors. He is going to clear the entire camp, though. And now the Hecarim and Lissandra both moving towards the bottom lane. Big deal here is the fact that Lissandra, level 8, has her ultimate available. Hecarim has his ultimate available. The call is made to try to dive into the bottom lane. They're looking for the Jinx. He's gonna flash, but the Hecarim's gonna chase on in. The Braum is taken out. The TP coming in from the Zillion as well, but the first blood's gonna go over to Raleigh on that Nautilus. And that's all they're gonna grab. The Jinx super low, but still alive.
And that's exactly what I wanted them to do there. So I like the fact that they committed to that. They didn't say, oh, the CS is backed away. They committed to that play. And that's exactly what they need to do. Got themselves first spot, got themselves an advantage. Even if it's on the Nautilus, it's still an advantage to get some lane pressure. I love to see that happen out of the Tortugas there.
Well, and the thing is that they burned 4 ultimates to be able to secure a kill on the support. However, if your ultimates are all just sitting up and you're not doing anything with them anyway, then you're not being able to use that power, as Zach is going to try to maybe use his ultimate on this bottom side. So he's going to get a little bit of damage. The Nautilus goes in, roots up Traxton, and now the TP coming in from the Lissandra. The Zach ultimate going to bring back the Sivir. However, the Braum is here. Jinx is already gone. The Zach passive is going to be popped, and now the Sivir going to try to get those creating boomerangs to bounce around and maybe finish him off. He's got 1 jelly blob left. He comes back up with under 300 health. In the meantime, fight to the top side. Test of Spear going to be going down. Hecarim's chasing onto the Zach in the bottom lane. Knocks him out of the jump. Bakapo falls. And Zufo going to be chased down a little bit underneath that second tier turret. And they're going to turn and burn these plates down. Zillion, why are you running? Headed to the bottom lane to see what he can do to stop those plates from falling. As that Scion getting a little bit of damage down onto the Alawi on that top side. Mostly just taking a beating though. Oh,
Yeah,
that super mega death rocket from Jinx was incredibly close to taking down Lissandra. We saw it sneaking onto the screen just before the screen moved to the top lane, but very close from Traxen, trying to track down where Grey Anatomy was on this Lissandra. No ultimate available to go invincible. It would have been a kill.
Yeah, I mean, as far as that whole bot lane fight was just crazy whatnot. I'd love to dive into in a second. In the middle of that, there was a top lane play going on too. And I just want to bring up the fact that look at the CS difference, right? We see these little fights going on here and there, but you now have a 35 plus CS lead in the top lane. This is what I was trying to say before, is if this snowballs forward, right, in 3 minutes, it could probably be up to 50. It's going to be so hard for the Tortugas to respond to this, because even if even if Hecarim comes up here, they're not going to do much.
Hecarim's got his eyes set on the bottom lane, gonna throw out that ultimate to avoid the glacial fish from the Brahmies on the behind the scene. The knock up onto the Jinx, Traxen falls, and Sivir's got crits for days. Pants taken down one, Nautilus getting the other. 4-0, the bottom lane for the side of the Tortugas, as Hecarim's ganks have been impressive. Sion just absorbing the pressure from the Alawi on the top side. Sure, it's not great, and sure, he's continuing to lose, but he's keeping Alawi locked into that lane, and now the Tortugas find themselves an Infernal Drake to add to their already Wind Drake. Lissandra even going over the walls, maybe getting a little bit of pressure onto the Zac. He's going to hop away, and so an Infernal goes to the Tortugas.
And they're putting such good pressure on these guys. There's no way that Little Monkey are able to get any of these, right? Now they're 2-0, and now 2-0 Hecarim has a lead. This is exactly how Little Monkey get this game. Yeah.
Break it up just a little bit, but I agree with whatever it is that you said as the Zac comes into the bottom lane looking for a gank of his own. The slap to pull the Nautilus in. However, Raleigh's getting pretty tanky and he can turn things around. So is the Hecarim coming in. Savado doesn't have the ultimate available, but can still charge in. There it is, knocking the Braum backwards. Goodbye, Braum, for the third time this game. The die potential onto the turret. There's only 2 plates left. Lissandra going to come over the wall. She's got the ultimate available. Prison, Glacial Tomb into the hook by Raleigh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 7-0 game. A 3,000 gold lead for Team Tortugas, and they are destroying literal monkeys. They gave up game number 2. Things weren't looking so hot for them after that, but they have brushed that off. They have said, you know what? We are fine, and we are on fire as well. Destroying in this game. You are back. Welcome back, Smartest. How are you doing?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Your analysis was just so OP, you had to go on cooldown for a moment. But we're glad to have you back. The Sion having to recall in that top side should be able to TP back in. He's finished off that Sunfire Cape, so slowly getting a bit tankier and a bit tankier. No, they're actually trading it up, sending the Nautilus and the Sivir to try to deal with that Alawi. Will she go to the bottom side in turn?
And that's exactly what we're talking about, right? The 50 CS lead up there. I don't know what's up with these Merc treads on these top laners. This is not what you need. This is not what your gold should have been put towards. Oh. Put me in, coach. Put me in. Anyways, now if we look at the mid lane, right? Lissandra now having Luden's Echo completed, ideally, I think if Lissandra is able to build towards a Proto Belt next and can act as more of an engage tool, it'll really allow the Tortugas to continue their push forward, look for more aggressive plays, which is exactly what they need to do to maintain the current lead.
Oh, they're going to find Lissandra ultimate onto Zupo. He's feared back. No, he gets the jump. However, he's still going to be knocked out. The CC layering from Nautilus is good. The Zillion was popped up for a moment, but he's going to get a little bit of trade back onto Raleigh. But again, they're continuing to find these picks. Braum has not been allowed to play League of Legends as Sion is headed straight into that bottom lane second tier turret, applying pressure. The split push for Team Tortugas as they start up the Rift Herald. There is the Alawi around the corner. Could come in with that ultimate, but instead, it's just going to be laning duty for the side of Literal Monkeys, and they are just losing objectives everywhere. Taiho, though, in the bottom side, flashes to the blast cone, going to be able to use the top away for a moment. The Zillion is here. He should be able to land the slow. Can the Sion get out? Taiho on the run for the moment, just biding time, letting his team secure the Rift Herald. He's tanky. He's got that Sunfire Cave. Can he get out? He's already burned Flash. He doesn't have that ultimate available. He's trying to get to Lissandra. Lissandra, help! He's waving her down, but no, will be following. Lissandra cares more about clearing those waves and heading towards that top side.
As Rift does get popped top lane, it will be a guaranteed guaranteed tower, nothing they can do to contest any of that. I want to also talk about the fact that Chrono Shift wasn't used in that play in the mid lane to save Braum, even though it could have been. So some interesting decisions coming out of Literal Monkeys this game. I wonder if their mental is just kind of a little bit shaken so far in the series. A lot, best of threes and best of fives is a lot about the war of attrition. So maybe we're seeing the impact of that.
Yeah, not making the best of decisions. However, the Tortugas finding themselves a turret and a little bit will get that extra gold to their name, a 4,000 gold lead. They've roamed and headed, brought 3 people here into the mid lane so Sivir can start that up. She's 30 CS lead over this Jinx. But the members of Little Monkeys clap fast enough to defend this mid lane first tier turret.
Yeah, and Jinx needs about another 300 gold for IE, which will at least let the Jinx match Sivir a little bit more in these team fights. But I mean, honestly, if we look at the CS lead, it's actually Little Monkeys that have a CS lead in the other areas, in the mid lane and top lane, whereas for the Tortugas, it's just kills. So the gold lead is 5k in a scenario where you would expect it to be more like 8k, 9k.
True. I am saying, though, that it might be the Wind Drakes that gives that boost of speed and refreshness to the side of Tortugas as they're going to start up the second Wind Drake of the game. Game number 1, they got 3 Wind Drakes. They were able to outrun Sivir Ultimates. Oh, excuse me, that was a different series. I keep referencing that, but it was a different series. They actually played Ezreal in game 1. Either way, they've got double Wind Drakes and another Infernal on the way. 18 minutes into the game, a solid 5,000 gold lead. But they've got to continue to find these objectives. They got to continue to snowball the lead that they've been able to find so far.
Absolutely. And, again, if you are Little Monkeys like this one, you really have to come back and say, okay, how we're kind of not playing this very smart right now. What do we need to do to come back from this? And the answer is, again, you as a 4-man group play around Jinx. Say, okay, we need Jinx to be able to win these fights. We have Zillion to protect her or Zac as a frontliner. And all we have to worry about is Jinx outdamaging Sivir. Problem is, Sivir's now 3-0 compared to Jinx's 0-2. Is up a significant amount of gold on her. Almost is about 2.5k gold lead on the Sivir. You need Jinx to just farm. You need, as much as it sounds non-intuitive, because you think, wait, Sivir's so much stronger later on though. Yes, but given the team compositions they have, it is possible for Jinx to match the Sivir even as the game continues on, because you do have, for example, Braum, who can eat a lot of Sivir's damage in his team fights.
Exactly. If he's able to drop that unbreakable wall, make sure that those boomerangs just disappear. They can't fly through and crit up the entire team. But as you were mentioning with that gold lead, Sivir's also an entire item up. The Phantom Dancer completed. So in the next fight, we'll have much more damage than this Jinx brought to the table. And the siege has started by Tortugas onto this mid lane. First tier turret. Zac, however, over the wall, going to be going in. He's got that ultimate. Let's bounce. Let's see if he decides to use the Scion. Taking up the turret, backing away. The Nautilus goes in, finds the hook. The Nautilus has been Test of Spirited as well. This Lawi getting a little bit of damage. He's not pulled out that ultimate yet. And so with a pretty poor siege started and ended by Tortugas, they back away as Scion is bleeding health, about 300. He's going to recall, head back to the fountain. He does have TP, so he could come back and try to do that again.
Yeah, and I think if you are Little Monkeys here, you have to wait for Zac to heal up, because he is your frontliner, right? You have Alawi, who's not that tanky yet, building towards the Death's Dance right now, but needs Death's Dance and Steerax before he can really be viable, or she can really be viable in teamfight scenarios. So really, I mean, you need Jinx to farm up, and you need Alawi to continue to farm up, because Alawi now has really good farm, 193 at 20.5 minutes in, almost perfect farm. Just allowing to keep that moving forward, continue to distance the gold lead between herself and Scion, which is now at 2.2k, comparable to the now almost 3k gold lead that Sivir has on Jinx.
Ekrim gonna start the charge onto the Zac. He lands the blast cone, but he's bolted back into the rest of the team. The Let's Bounce not gonna come through. His passive has been popped, but I don't know that will save them. The rest of the team collapses. Nautilus picking up his 5th kill of the game. Raleigh being an absolute beast. Not exactly who you want to imagine all 5 kills going onto the Sivir. She would be just that much further ahead. However, still incredibly good, and the Baron is started up by Tortugas. They said, you know what, the enemy team jungler is downside and split pushing in the bottom side of the map. Let's get ourselves a Baron, and literal monkeys literally not here to respond.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like, we're just seeing, you know, big differences in the jungle and AD carry roles this game, where, you know, Savato and Pans have just been stepping up to bat this game. Even Raleigh, but I mean, to be fair, we've seen Raleigh like perform so well every single game, almost a steal coming in. Whereas Traxton and Pakapal have really been struggling to find their ground this in this series, honestly. And Zuppo also not having the greatest game this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been struggles all over this page for the side of literal monkeys. They just have been failing in almost every situation. That Zach not working out for Pakapal. Every time he tries to go in, he's finding himself getting popped. He doesn't have the health and he doesn't have the stats to be able to be that frontline tank that they need. And the Alawi, well, she found a huge CS lead. Look at that CS lead right now. It is a 90 CS over the Sion. She's almost 100 CS up, but she's not participating in these fights. She had the ultimate available for a big 5v5 fight in the mid lane and didn't use it, didn't commit to it. And again, the question comes down to these hesitations by literal monkeys. They have to pull the trigger at some point in game number 1. By the time they pulled the trigger in the bottom lane, it was far too late. And Quest for Ions got a great Urgot ultimate off, but it wasn't enough to win. And they still lost the game. They've got to pull the trigger sooner than later. All right, the Infernal Drake going to be spawning here.
And I don't know why Alawi opted for the stair. Oh, the Fnatic Bush coming in.
Oh, they're going to find the Braum. No, he wisely goes ahead and gets to that. However, he will be caught, and he will be going down. Throws out that ultimate, a little bit of his own bouncy house. However, the members of the Tortugas will continue to clear him up and then head straight for that Infernal Drake. Second Infernal Drake of the game for them. They're sitting on that Baron, wasting a little bit of Baron time, but again, they have secured every single neutral objective this game. The Drakes, the Rift Herald, the Baron, they are just destroying this game. They also haven't lost a single turret yet. The only way this isn't a perfect game is the one death on the Sion, which, you know what, on Sion, you gotta int at least once before the game is over.
Otherwise, you're not in Sion. It just would be a thing.
Right? Exactly.
You gotta be in Sion.
Well, the siege starts here in the mid lane. Zach gonna be going in, looking for the slap. The Nautilus ultimate onto the Jinx, knocking her up. Lissandra not gonna take the claw into the middle of the fight. It's the Braum jumping in. We'll see what they can do. The side of the Tortugas disengages. They were able to burn a little bit of the engage from literal monkeys. However, Zach not ulting means they can continue to try to defend this mid lane turret. The Nautilus ult is down. The Sivir ult is down.
Yeah, and I mean, this is probably the best situation for literal monkeys here. You have a 4v4 with a 1v1 setup, like I was mentioning before, but you need Alawi to kill Sion. You need Alawi to be aggressive, push up, and give her team, champion, gender, blah blah blah.
Just pick one or say they. Neutrals,
I know, right? Just
say.
They
I do it a lot.
They need to get their team an advantage by securing the 1v1. You're saying, okay, I am the strongest split pusher here. Cool. Get the kill or push the wave in, force the enemy team to react to you. Otherwise, it's just a 1v1 in the side wave while your team's struggling in a 4v4 situation. You need to actually capitalize on it. You need to actually do something with it.
And that's what I'm saying about this Alawi, right? Alawi's strength is in that 5v5. She wants that ultimate to be slamming those tentacles on the entire enemy team, getting those massive heals as well as huge amounts of damage. However, Sion is doing his job perfectly of just sitting there and keeping her busy. She's now jumping in here potentially into a 4v5 as the Sivir has to flash away. Zach is going in. Let's bounce, only going to land on one, bringing the Hecarim and his Fear with the ultimate, only going to land early onto Jinx. The Nautilus ultimate used to disengage the fight as the Alawi hasn't been able to get in just yet, and the Tortugas backing away to their first tier turret. However, the pressure is in favor of literal monkeys. The Sion pushing in slowly on that bottom side. We'll see if the side of literal monkeys can secure this first tier turret. They should be able to, as Jinx has stacked up big enough with that Gatling gun. Take it down. A small advantage back to literal monkeys after a good fight. However, the Tortugas in that mispositioning, the burning of the flash on Sivir could have been disastrous, and they're able to make the disengage, only losing one turret off of that, which Sion has responded to by picking up his own turret on the bottom side.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that's the first time this game they've managed to find any objective on the map. If they can sort of keep this up, they need to somehow. The only way for Literal Monkeys to come back from this is to somehow find a way to allow Jinx to get some gold. If they can't do that, they cannot win any of these fights.
Yeah, down 40, 50 CS compared to the Sivir, who's just continuing to stack up. Jinx was getting a little bit of that farm on the top side, but now backing and recalling. Both teams, once again, playing that wait and see. There is a third Infernal Drake coming up in a little bit. Going to make things incredibly spicy on the Rift as the Scion is walking past a Baron that will be spawning here shortly as well. So again, these plays around the neutral objectives become even more crucial. At the moment, the Tortugas with control vision around the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you need to, I think, your best case scenario is you have to contest the Infernal Drake, right? Like, if you lose that Infernal Drake, you lose the Elder Drake that's come after it, and there's nothing you can do. A triple Infernal with Elder on it is just guaranteed game.
Well, we'll check in on those ultimates, all of them up for both teams. Where are they going to use them is the question. And now one of the things that both teams have liked to do, try to initiate a small skirmish, seeing who's going to waste those ultimates, waiting for those cooldowns before going back in. That's part of the reason why the Tortugas had to disengage the fight around the mid lane, was a couple of them were missing those key ultimates. But with all of them up and available, Tortugas, seeing that they have a little bit of pressure in the Scion to distract from the top side of the map, start up the Baron. We'll see if it's a little bit faster than the last time they tried to do this. And the members of Literal Monkeys are not here to respond just yet. Now they're coming in. The Baron down under 6,000 health. There's the call from the Sivir. The Hecarim charging into the back line. That's going to be the flash from Lissandra. She's going to ult herself straight on top of the Jinx. They're dropping people's health low, but the Zilean going to try to ult himself to survive for a little bit longer. Goodbye, Braum. Savado with a bomb on his head takes him down. Zilean getting one back. The carries are alive, but all of the tanks are down. The Zac going to be finished off as well, as his passive will be taken down. And now the Tortugas can turn right back onto the Baron. They may have lost their jungler, but they have gotten all of Literal Monkey's front line, and so the squishy carries just have to defend.
Yeah, Alawi kind of just got bursted on the fight alongside the Braum. They're both Braum and Alawi tried to push up there to try and make the play happen. Unfortunately, weren't able to connect their abilities or find the fight they needed to fight. I mean, while you're running, did manage to get a good bomb to at least pick up Stavado, but all in all, I mean, it was a complete loss for them. And with this, the Tortugas are able to reset. They're going to provide for the Inferno.
Well, that Jinx was noticed by Bliss the jungler. The fact that she was sitting way back in the fight. Lissandra using the claw and taking it all the way into the back line, then ults herself, and Jinx can decide, do I want to try to move forward and be standing inside of the Lissandra ultimate to deal a little bit of damage, or do I have to wait out this Lissandra ultimate to then try to turn onto the squishy carry for the Tortugas? And it just takes way too long to make that decision. The Jinx doesn't go down, just turns and starts to run away. Third Infernal Drake picked up by the Tortugas, 13 kills to 2. They've got a 10,000 gold lead and firm control over this game with the Baron buff ticking away on them.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really difficult for Little Monkeys to do anything now. At this point, I mean, it's just the Tortugas' game to win here. They need to just push it in. They need to they can play the siege game. They've got Nautilus and they've got Scion, two monstrous tanks to just sit up there and take any kind of damage that Little Monkeys can try and throw at them, right? Jinx is nowhere near that powerful yet. The only thing they have to worry about are Zillion bombs right now.
Yeah, again, this Sivir is a full item up over the Jinx. The Zillion's got that Rod of Ages at that 10 stack. However, he doesn't have a Luden's Echo. He doesn't have much magic penetration. So the Siege in the mid lane from Tortuga is just letting these cannon minions do the work. Occasionally, Sivir stepping forward to get an auto attack down the Test of Spear onto Hecarim, but he's immediately headed to the very back of the fight, making sure that those tentacles aren't going to do that much to him, but allowing his team to help clear those away. And so the Siege takes a small step forward to move on to the inhibitor in the mid lane, waiting for that next wave to come up. Again, from the Literal Monkeys, they have to make the call. They have to pull the trigger. It's Scion who's going to charge in from Taiho, setting up the Braum ultimate to come down as well. There's the 5-man tentacle ultimate by the Alawi, but it's far too little, far too late. The Sivir is on a murder spree. Triple kill as Hecarim's going to steal one away. Rek'Sai Ions going tanky with the Jarum's Fist. the Sterex Gauge, excuse me, and still goes down. Sion taking that away, and ladies and gentlemen, it's been a crazy series. Tortugas winning game 1, just being destroyed game 2 by literal monkeys, and then decimating game number 3. You thought their form was good game 1. Their form game 3 make them look like champions, and they will be moving on into the semifinals coming up this coming Saturday.
18-2 with 5 dragons. Very impressive, very cleanly executed. Even when I put them at a disadvantage, saying, "Oh, team comp wise, a little monkey's looking way stronger." But no, they showed me. There's you know what? Our bot lane is just going to destroy this entire game.
Absolutely
Very,
brutal. Very, very strong. We'll see what they can do when it comes to the semifinals. However, I've got to ask you, Smartest, at this point, what are your thoughts on the fact that they did so well in game 1, they fell apart in game 2, they did amazing game 3. What are the signs on a team that is so wishy-washy, especially when it comes to these series games where one game could be the defining factor whether you win or lose?
Yeah, so game 2, when they sort of took this Twitch Zillion sort of route, what they really struggled with was getting Twitch a lead, right? It was like, they've got Ashe, Nautilus to lane against. They had a really tough lane into them. They had Vel'Koz, who was doing a lot of really good work, and Urgot, who became a monster for their team to deal with because of the top lane matchup. Game 1, we saw them pick a really safe bot lane, Ezreal Braum. And game 3, we saw them take Sivir, Nautilus, again, a fairly safe lane. So it seems like, when they're given the tools to play safe in the bot lane and play the game at their pace, when they can dictate the pace of the bot lane, they really are able to carry it through their bot lane and snowball leads. So I think if they continue to play through their bot lane, right, their jungler has even left them alone on numerous occasions and focused his attention on the top side of the map, and the bot lane has still found a lead. I think if they continue to empower their bot lane and play through it, I think they'll find success.
Well, maybe we'll see if the team that they are up against will be able to find that against them, as we will be having Iridescence Gaming playing the Tortugas in next Saturday's best of 5 semifinals. Don't miss it. For now, this has been it for us in this final best of 3. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Smartest for coming in and casting for so long. We will see you all this coming Saturday. If you enjoyed the stream, be sure to hit that follow button with that notification bell so that you know exactly when the games start this coming Saturday. We also will be having some streams throughout the week in which you, as a Twitch viewer, can hop on in and get hype casted just like these games. Smartest, any last words before we go?
Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Beep boop, beep boop. Good stuff there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be rolling through the credits very quickly as you guys get to call out all the people who have been following. There's been a bunch of you showing some massive support. Thank you so much for that. If you do need to go ahead, but I will be finding a channel to raid. I think there's one that is still streaming some of these games. I'll track that